Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, rugby clubs up and down the country, hello and welcome to Rugby Bash Legends in your living room with me, Bruce Aitchison from Happiness is Egg-Shaped. I have the honour of being your host today for this fantastic event. And do we have two legends for you? Well, at the moment, actually, we only have one, because the other one is the defence coach for Newcastle Falcons, who have had a tough afternoon at home against Bath. So it might be that we have to just not ask any questions about that one. And if he might take a little bit of time to warm up. So we are going to have two legends, but one of them was kept back because he's been naughty. But have we got a show for you, brought to you in association with Snackfully and Glen Turret Whiskey. And we've got competitions, we've got chat, we have got the game to watch together, because we can't be down the club having a few beers, hearing that atmosphere and that buzz. So we hope it's been brought to you. Please make sure that you use the Twitter handle and the WhatsApp number that you should have to send us your pictures of your setup. Let's see how you're enjoying this event. Send us what you've got going on, the big screen, the laptop set up with us on it. Are you enjoying your snacks? Have you got the bar laid out? Face paint? Strips on? Who are you supporting, England or France? Or are you just here like me, being a Scotsman along for the ride? And I can't be disappointed with the result today. How good is that? I just get to enjoy the chat and enjoy the game. We're going to do a bit of build-up. We'll then have kick-off. We'll chat as we go. Make sure you send your questions in. Get your questions to our legends and see what they've got to say. It's been a great series so far, and we are looking forward to this one. At halftime, there will be a chance for you to go and recharge. We'll have a bit of halftime analysis. We'll have some predictions for who they think is going to be man of the match based on what they've seen so far. We'll have another bit of chat through the second half. We're going to have somebody who's happy and somebody who's sad towards the end of the game, I think, and then we'll have a bit of reaction after the final whistle. Please stick with us, be interactive. Use the tweets, get it into us, get the pictures in. Let's see what you're up to. Have a great afternoon. Now, you're not just here to listen to me. In fact, you're not here to listen to me at all. Let's bring in our legends. Now, I know we've got one, and hopefully I'll get a little nod to say when we've got the other one coming back. Now, we've got this guy. I've now met him twice, and his chat is absolutely magnificent. I remember watching him playing and thinking, wow, I would not want to play against him. In fact, that's probably how I would have thought about both of them. Me being a fly half who didn't like the contact very much, and these two being absolute machines in the back row, destroyers who love the contact. Both have been very successful in their careers. Yannick Nyanga is fantastic. He has got a great insight into the game, loves France, very excited about this group of players, very honest about what they are going to get up to. So without any further ado, let's bring in the one and the only and the ridiculously handsome Yannick Nyanga. Hello, sir.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, I'm very well. Good to see you, Yannick. Brilliant to have you with us. You tell me, are you excited about this?
Yeah, of course. Every crunch is a great game to see. Different story, but yeah, always something is happening.
Now, I was listening to Benjamin Kaiser on the radio today, and he was saying, and I'd never heard this before about France. Being a Scotsman, this is true for us. A couple of weeks ago, we had Mike Brown and Gareth Anscombe, and Gareth Anscombe was saying that England is their cup final. And then I heard Benjamin Kaiser saying something very similar on the radio today. He said that this is the game that if we'd had a poor run of results, as long as we beat England. Yeah. England was their benchmark to a successful competition. Is that how you feel about this game today?
Yeah, of course. And no matter, it's like a final itself. So no matter how good or bad is England at the time, every time they come to a crunch, it's a different team. Same for France. So yeah, it's like I love football too, and it's like a PSG against Marseille, or there is a big rivalry between the two countries, and we love to hate each other. And yeah, we love to pick on. You can save a tournament by winning France, and you can save a tournament by winning England.
I would love to see you play football. What position did you play at football, Yannick?
Forward, but I was very bad at it. That's why I played forward.
There are a huge number of failed footballers.
I wish I could play forward, but I was playing goalkeeper. So just for you to imagine my level.
Yeah, I bet there wasn't too many people who tried to challenge the goalkeeper when the ball came into the box, though, when you were in goals. Yannick, this French team, everybody is excited by this French team. Everybody is getting excited by your number 9. How good is he?
Yeah, he's amazing. The first thing is that it's been, I think, 4 or 5 years now. He's in the top 14, playing very good, doing a lot of difference on the field. To my opinion, he was struggling a little bit at the 2 or 3 first season in the top 14 to be able to make players playing good around him. He was doing a lot of difference, but not playing very good with the player around him. But this season and last season is outstanding. He can do it all. He's able to be a playmaker in the team. He's able to make difference for his team, and I think he's one of the best number 9 in the world.
So you're saying he's one of the best. Aaron Smith, the All Black, who is a phenomenal rugby player, he's come out very recently to say that he thinks this guy is the best number 9 in the world. Is that true, or is that media,
because Aaron Smith is humble, first thing, and even if it wasn't the case, you will have said it, because you won't say I am the best number 9 in the world. But I think that he's close to be one of the best in the world. To be one of the best in the world, you have to win titles, and at the moment, that's what Antoine missed. But I think in a few years, in a few weeks, you'll be able to add some trophy to his collection.
Absolutely, and it looks pretty good this year, depending on how. Probably today is maybe the stumbling block, but we'll get to that. But Yannick, you'll be pleased to know you're not going to be left with me for the whole day, because I'm told that Nick Easter is in the building now. We have to be sensitive here. Good afternoon, Nick.
Hello there. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm okay, but I'm a little bit worried. So do we just gloss over it and move on?
Yeah, let's gloss over whatever you're referring to. Yeah, let's not refer to it, shall we?
We've been there. Don't worry. We won't.
We've all been there. A tough afternoon, but hopefully, surely today's the day for England, isn't it? This is the day to announce the arrival.
Yeah, I think so. Eddie Jones went much more down what Yannick said in terms of picking a bit more experience. A few changes, Max Malins, Luke Dickey, but I don't think that'll weaken England. I think they're form players in those positions. And but it brings more pressure on them. I think England are in a pretty good place because, we've been there in the past with England. And what I mean by that is, that underdog, bulldog spirit when you are written off and the other team are favourites is where a lot of teams like to be, but none more so than England. But they've got to start well. England actually showed some good bits in their game against Wales. I thought they actually looked sharper in attack. But with France not having played for 4 weeks and probably not having trained for 2 weeks, that rustiness, that they've got to try and take advantage of any rustiness if it is there in the French side. And we know from Eddie Jones's success rate depends a lot on how fast England start. And sides are aware of that. But, if England can sort of bring some sharpness to their attacking game in the first 20 minutes and put pressure on the scoreboard, then, it could go a long way towards determining an English win.
But I was listening to Ugo Monja, who was saying that he said England showed flashes against Wales, but
why are you listening to Ugo Monja? Why are you listening to him? He never spoke sense when I played with him, mate. I don't know why people listen to him now when he's commentating.
He's Mr. Media now, though. He's all over the place. It's hard not to listen to him.
He is, yeah.
He was saying that one of the question marks, and I think this game has got so many. You've already mentioned some of them. France haven't played for 4 weeks. England's backs against the wall. Everything rides on this game for France to keep progressing and England to get back on it. There's so many question marks. But he reckoned one of the things about the Welsh game was England only played when they were forced to play. So has Eddie Jones got the plan B, or is plan A going to be slightly different? How do you think they're approaching this?
Yeah, well, you've heard some sound bites coming out of the English camp, haven't you? Henry Slade says, they probably went to a kick first mentality rather than a run first. Max Mayling's coming at fullback, and he's a good footballer as well, and he likes to run with the ball. But it'll be an interesting question to answer that, won't it? But I think, as you say, that they started to play a bit more in attack when they went, 2 tries down, or 14 or 17-3 or whatever it was. But so there's less pressure and less expectation. Well, there's actually less pressure and expectation in this game because France are the favourites. So I don't see, in terms of, their mindset going out there, it being an issue of wanting to play ball in hand. And, as I go back to the point before about France not having played for 4 weeks, well, you've got to keep the ball in play, keep it moving, keep them guessing, keep the big forwards moving around to take advantage of that instead of sort of sticking boot to ball and allowing them to settle into the game.
I'm loving having 2 back rowers on because the back row has been a massive talking point. Yannick, let's get you talking about the England back row. What do you think about picking Billy Vunipola again and again and again? There's a lot of question marks over him. There are other players who have been left out. How do you see those 3 for England combining?
I think there are three very good players. Billy Vunipola is struggling because of the fact of Saracen's situation. They've been relegated in the second division and they didn't play for a long time. In lack of rhythm, and Eddie Jones. I think Eddie Jones' choice was okay. I will build this fitness during the tournament, and he saw that he had enough talent to grow during the tournament. So he will grow. I think we will see a way better Billy Vunipola than we saw at the start of the tournament. I don't know if it will be enough because he will facing a huge number 8 as well. I think he's the best player in the French team. Maybe beyond Antoine Dupont because he created a lot for the team. He a lot of turnover for the team. He's a very good ball carrier, and he made the team in good situation that Antoine Dupont is able to score on. So talking about Billy Vunipola, I think he'll be better, but I understand that Eddie Jones stick to his choice. We will know if it was a good choice at the end of the tournament. So you can just go with him and play 3 games, and after 3 games, just change. So, yeah, my opinion is like I don't know if I will start him at the start of the tournament, but once he get to that, he has to go on.
Nick, it's the one probably position that has the biggest question mark over it for England because there seems to be so many back row talents flying around the place. What do you make of this French back row? Because surely that battle today is just huge, isn't it? Those 3 for France have been phenomenal in this tournament. Yeah,
excellent. Back to having a quality back rows to when Nyanga was playing there. I think the whole French spine is outstanding. Marchand at hooker, and then you've got your captain Olivon at 7. Audrey, Dupont, and Jalibert on Ntamak, whoever you go. And I think that spine is massively important in any team. And for them to all come, roughly the same age group, roughly, they've come through last year in the Six Nations, all come through together. And England will need to disrupt that. They will need to disrupt that. I
will add Brice Diner as fullback.
Yeah.
The spine.
And they Audrey, I agree. I think is just an outstanding number 8. I think, outside of the physical stuff that you've obviously got to bring as a back row and your breakdown work and tackle and carry work, he's actually an excellent footballer and decision maker with ball in hand. Olivon's obviously the go-to man of the line-out alongside all the other back row qualities, and it'd be an interesting battle. Mark Wilson's experience, Tom Curry's, coming along, Billy Vunipola we've just spoken about. So that has a different balance to it as well. But it's about time now that Eddie's selection in the back row came to fruition, and you started to see it justified.
Yeah, I just think it's going to be an enormous clash. Yannick, one of the names that just trips off the tongue, number 13, Fakatawa coming back in. That's a pretty decent man to add for a game like this.
Of course. He didn't play for 5 weeks, I think, and last week we went to play against Toulon, and we lost, but he was the best man on the field after 5 weeks not playing because of a knee injury, which was a good one. He was already the best, and already at his best after 20 minutes on the field. Scored try, and yeah, he's a different type of player. I agree about the fact that not playing for 4 weeks is a disadvantage on this game, but I think that's why they put 6 forwards on the bench to be able to coach very, very soon in the game. I don't think we will see that in the start of the game, because when you didn't play for a long time, you're fresh, so it will be a massive start from both teams. And maybe after 30 minutes, French will have a little bit down. So if they take the score, they will have to carry that score until the halftime, and after the halftime, they will start coaching the team. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see the first 20 minutes.
Nick, why hasn't Eddie gone forward heavy this time?
Probably feels the threat of the French backline. You look at that backline, and it's highly talented with a lot of versatility as well. I know what you're saying. He did sort of copy the Rassi Erasmus tactic of 6-2 forwards, didn't he, last year after the World Cup? But I think maybe they've had a discussion in terms of what might be needed in the back line, and to raise the pace of the game, maybe to take advantage. Again, we're talking about it. Take advantage of the lack of match fitness that France might have, and bring more pace into the game later on.
If you're looking at the 10, 12, 13, Farrell started at 10. He's now been moved to 12. How that impacts George Ford is, you'll know better than me. But when you look at that French 10, 12, 13, you're the defence expert, Nick. What do you do against those 10, 12, 13 for France if you're England and you've got Ford, Farrell and Slade there?
Look, England have been pretty well drilled. I know they conceded 40 points last time out, but they've been pretty well drilled under John Mitchell's defence. And, Owen Farrell's, been a part of the Saracens Wolfpack in the past as well. And look, they'll target forward. There's no doubt that Fakatawa coming down Ford's channel will be, certainly part of their set-piece plan, or certainly use him as a decoy possibly. But Slade's an excellent defender, as is Johnny May. And look, England do miss a bit of a clout in the midfield. I think that's part of the reason Billy Vunipola's selected as well, a guy that brings in 2 or 3 tacklers. But they miss a Manu Tuolangi, and that's why it's a little bit disappointing. Ollie Lawrence got dropped after the first game, because I think people were sort of predicting that he might be either the backup or the go-to guy as far as that's concerned. But he's on the bench, so let's hope he gets a few minutes as well later on.
Right, so you're picking your squad, and you've gone with those 10, 12 and 13, but Ollie Lawrence is on the bench, so he's your get-over-the-gain-line guy. Why is he needed to come off the bench to do that? Why are they not seeing that as what they need first?
I think they've gone with experience. They've gone with an extra kicking option in Slade's left foot, because as much as they want to get the balance with ball in hand, turning an opposition and keeping the ball in play will probably be part of the tactics. They also realise that a big part of the French improvement has been their discipline and patience in their kicking game to win territory and get set piece and attacking opportunities in the opposition half. That's been a big thing that they've had a focus on the last year, and a big change in the French game plan. And to counter that, England have selected one more kicker.
Yannick, we were chatting when we met last week, and we were chatting a little bit backstage about this. You've got this patch of players coming through who have been together and been developed deliberately as a group, but then you add Sean Edwards to that coaching team. What's his impact on this French squad?
Yeah, I think he add a lot more discipline. We had this chat earlier, and I was talking about that France is very good to develop players from a young player to a professional player. They are struggling a little bit
We've gone down in a submarine.
Yeah. Is it okay now? Yeah.
Yeah, we got you now.
Yeah. So they were struggling in terms of high performance, and high performance is like all the small details that you have to repeat and repeat and repeat. And I don't think that Sean Edwards came with a new things, but he came with a lot more discipline that we used to have before. And the importance of details in the high performance is huge. So now they don't do stupid mistakes as we used to do when we were at their place. And I think that what Nick just said about the kicking game strategy is the main change of the French team. Now they build the victory. They build the position. It's a chess game about how will we have a good position in the last 40 or 30 meters on the opposite team. But yeah, I think Sean Edwards had the discipline, if I had one word to say.
So, Nick, now France have become difficult to score against. They're maybe not going to have that lapse in concentration that they were traditionally known for. How do you prepare for that? Is it the kicking game and just apply pressure and pick up threes and kicks to the corner? What changes?
No, I look. A lot of the top international sides have excellent defenses now, and France are one of them. But you've still got to threaten. You've still got to try and achieve momentum to put them under pressure. And yeah, look, if penalties come within kicking range, certainly earlier on in the game, you've got to take your points because it is very difficult to score in international rugby, especially against organised defences. But you can't just think, oh, they got a good defence, we've got to kick everything. Otherwise, what's the point in working on your attack and picking players that are actually dangerous players?
Do you think George Ford's got a game in him today?
So, yeah, definitely. You know, England's best attacking has generally come with him and Farrell at 10 and 12. We haven't seen it for a while, but today could be the day.
Would you pick Marcus Smith?
Yeah, I would give Marcus Smith a go. You know, I've said that. I just think this Six Nations is an opportunity actually to give a whole new 2, 8, 9 and 10 a go. It's too late now, but and people think it's hindsight. But actually, I thought at the beginning of the tournament that, you know, given the Sarries players would have played in so many big games, Lions, Saracens games, you know, semi-finals, finals, England games, obviously a World Cup not long ago, you could have actually given them a bit longer off and told them, right, you know, get some rugby at your club and come back fresh next year. And we can unearth some depth in certain positions, you know, at 2, 8, 9 and 10. And I'd have liked to have seen some youngsters played there. And Marcus Smith at 10 would have been one. Harry Randall, Alex Mitchell at 9, possibly another, or Sam Simmons or Alex Dombrandt at number 8. But we are where we are at the moment. And, you know, I think Ford Farrell, they need to sort of rediscover the form from 2016-17.
Is Eddie being loyal?
Yes, he is being loyal. It certainly seems to be harder to get out of the team than in the team. Credit in the bank counts for a massive amount. And I think England don't have the experience in the match squad. They certainly got the experience in the 15, but I don't think they have the experience in the match squad. So it doesn't lend for Eddie to actually back changing his side as much as possibly he used to. Because if you remember when he first took over, you know, players like Danny Kerr were on the bench at 9, players like Joe Marler at loosehead, just to name quite a few. You had Launchbury obviously in the second row, and you know, other guys which might not have had as many caps as they've had now, but they were still experienced players. Whereas England actually don't have that bench support. So for him to make changes to the starting lineup, I think he gets a bit twitchy, and that's why he sort of relies on the tried and trusted.
And on the other side, France has a huge bench, a lot of energy. When you have Kamisha going on, Cameron Woki, Baptiste Serin, Anthony Gelange, Romain Tamac on the bench. I think it's a big difference. I think about after an hour of game, when you put this guy on, it's going to be a huge addition.
How horrible is that as a player when you know you're one of the ones who's going to play for 80 minutes? You've just gone bang, bang, bang for 60, and then a fresh guy comes on full of energy. How do you get up for that one, Yannick?
you don't think, you just do it. And
you look to the coaches and say, "Am I coming off?"
Yeah.
Nice. Yannick, this French team, two of the players I get excited about, we've already named a bundle, but Fickou and Teddy Thomas are just outrageous.
Yeah, I think offensively, they are one of the best talent in the world. No matter, from nothing they can do something. So just it's they are type of player that you just want them to have ball in the end, because once they got the ball in the end, something can happen. Space or no space, something can happen.
Something can happen. Nick, do you miss it? Do you miss the build up to this?
Yeah, look, of course you do, but I know, personally, I've had my time. It's these guys' time, but the French game was always the one I loved and looked forward to the most. I always thought it was the ultimate challenge in European rugby. That they have a wealth of talent and depth. We've spoken about the back line, but the forwards as well. And also, they always had a big pack, and England and France generally have the best packs in the Six Nations. Not always been the case but consistently over time they have. And you knew you had to be on your game, because they've got players there that can create something in the blink of an eye. And when they get momentum or they're on song, they can be a joy to watch from the armchair. But to play against, you're just chasing shadows, and it's a nightmare.
Who did you love playing against?
Well, I just love playing against the French all round, mate. Whether it was the back row, whether it was Yannick, Terry Dusatois, Serge, Louis Picamol, Harry Nordicky, just to roll off the tongue. There was a massive challenge, those guys. But then you obviously had your halfbacks, and they just had multiple threats. I remember Yannick Zozion in the centre. He was someone you had to tie up as well, for example, to stop the offloading game. And look, they always presented a big challenge, and for the English, it was never an issue. I mean, as I say, it's not an issue getting up playing for your country anyway, but there was always a little bit more in the water that week when we played France.
And is that because you saw it as that was the real marker for you? France was the real benchmark?
When I was growing up, England and France were the two dominant sides in the Five Nations, as it was then. Look at the 1991 Grand Slam decider, for example. You had the 91 quarterfinal, didn't you, as well? The famous one in Parc des Princes. And England and France were the two best sides in the Six Nations, and it was called Le Crunch. And I don't know when that was nicknamed, whether it was before then or around that time. But it was always the one that, you weren't sure as an England supporter, however well England were going, would they win that one? Whereas some of the other sides, at the time were probably, you could go through the motions, but with the French, that was never the case.
Did you want them first or last? When did you want to play France?
That's a good question, mate, because if you play them last, at least you can do a little bit of analysis on the players and patterns and have a game plan, whereas you can't really when you play them first. It's sort of like, actually, what are we expecting here? But, to be honest, it was just a joy, and it was a massive challenge to play them every single time. Always look forward to it. There was always that nervousness about if things didn't quite go right. It could be quite embarrassing, or you could lose the game. And I always felt it was the biggest challenge in the Six Nations whenever we played the French. I
love hearing you say that it was just a joy. Yannick, going to Twickenham, you've got some happy memories at Twickenham?
Yeah, I did.
I didn't play that. Never lost to the French at Twickenham.
I won 2 times in Twickenham. The first one was 2005 in the Six Nations tournament. One of my best memory because it was my first time away in the tournament. So it was a crazy atmosphere. 2005, England was a world champion title. A lot of massive players like I remember Jason Robinson, so many others like Johnny Wilkinson, and I remember Joe Worsley was there at this time as well. I think Martin Johnson retired. I think 2005.
Yeah.
But yeah, still it was still the big team. Still a lot of names. Josh Lucy, fast backline. And it was one of the best. And from that, I always loved play England because even if I had bad memories too, I had good ones. So yeah, the worst one was in 2007, of course, when we lost the semi-final of World Cup semi-final. We won the two friendly game before in Twickenham and in Marseille, and we lost the main one. So this is one of the biggest regrets of my career. But
one of my best memories, that Yannick.
Yeah, I love it that the two of you are in competition. That is just fantastic. Folks, please make sure you're sending in your questions as well. Otherwise, I'm just going to really enjoy myself speaking to these two, selfishly getting hold of them. Here, I think we've got a question in from somebody in Newcastle, Minty, and I don't think it's about Newcastle. Which English players do you think have done themselves out of a potential Lions spot?
Oh, I think, to be honest, I think these last two games actually will go a lot more or a longer way to determining the Lions spots. Warren Gatland's shown in the past that actually he waits till the end of the Six Nations now. He'll obviously have his squad of, 40. He'll probably have about 32 names down there before the tournament started. But, he's still got to see, whether they're on form or any bolters come through. And if you remember back to 2013 when England were going for the Grand Slam in Cardiff and got beaten 30 points to 3, I can imagine that changed a few minds as far as Warren Gatland was concerned in picking Welshmen over Englishmen. And if you look at it, England are playing France as underdogs. So if they perform in this game, he'll know that these guys can handle the pressure and top players and top teams. And then they go to Ireland away. So if England or individuals perform well in these two games, I don't think any of their chances have been written off at the moment.
Yeah, love it. Love it. Who knows with the Lions? Who knows? What's your favourite away game stadium by Fudge Jones? Yannick, what's your favourite away stadium?
Millennium Stadium so far.
Millennium. With the roof on?
Oh yeah, roof on.
Noisy. Roof on.
Yeah.
Crazy Welsh.
One of the best, crazy Welsh, noisy, and the fact that it's in the city. The memories I had inside. The way they organize everything. They just put you on the field, wait for 1 minute or two, putting you in the dark, and great memories there. That's my favorite so far.
Minty, what's yours?
Mine are same as Yannick. Millennium Stadium, the cacophony, the roof on, the support, unbelievable noise. But actually, it's Yannick's home stadium. The Stade de France, Saint-Denis, because I've had so many good memories there. I don't want to. I don't want to obviously pour salt into the old wounds, but 2007 semi-final. We then went back there in the Six Nations and won there as well the following year. And I went down there with my club Harlequins, and when we played Stade Francais when they were the French champions in 2008, and we weren't fancied, and we did the European double on them, and the first game was in the Stade de France. So that holds special memories for me, and the Millennium Stadium as well, and also two stadiums where I've won more than I've lost, which international level is very rare. But I think Millennium Stadium in terms of the atmosphere, Stade de France in terms of the memories of what was achieved at that stadium.
I love how much you enjoyed it.
The second one for me is Marseille. When we play in France, there is Stade de France is the best stadium when you play a big game, like you play England, All Black, South Africa, Australia. it's a great stadium. But when you play away in the south, like Toulouse or Marseille, the cheering of the people is different and is amazing.
The Velodrome.
Yeah, the Velodrome was another game.
Crazy Southerners, gents. I'll give you a little bit of a break as we do a little bit. We've thanked you to our sponsors, Snackfully, and we've got a little advert from them just to make sure everybody knows that we're enjoying their snacks as we watch on here.
Oh, always, mate, always. Love them. Here they are, and the raw nuts, even nicer.
The nuts are good. I'm a big fan of the nuts.
No, thanks very much for those.
Folks, make sure you're sending in your pictures of your setup so that we can see what you're getting up to, and keep your questions coming in. It's always good to get your name up on the screen and ask two legends, and that is exactly what we've got, is two legends here to talk. Their national anthems, is that a bit you enjoyed? It's obviously a bit different with the stadium being empty. Did you enjoy God Save the Queen at a full Twickers, Minty?
Mate, I'll tell you what, when we played the French, I actually used to sing along to their national anthem. Not that I knew the words, but I used to hum. If there's any old footage and the camera's on me, I promise you I was humming or singing along to it. I used to love the Marseillaise. God Save the Queen, of course, very proud, great to sing it. It stirs the emotions. But it's probably quite a good anthem as far as the opposition are concerned, because it's over very quickly. But I used to, Flower of Scotland's, a lot of people like that. But I just think, when you're celebrating an age-old victory over the English, it sort of defines the paucity of your nation, really, as Scotsman. But the French one, I used to love, especially away from home when the whole crowd used to sing it as well. And sometimes you can't help but just enjoy what the opposition, have to offer.
That must be one of the highlights of playing in the Millennium Stadium when the Welsh get fired up.
Yeah, and as Nick said, the Marseillaise, it's a war song. So before the just getting to the game, it's good to hear that, because it's talking about going and kill people facing you because they want to take your families and everything, and so it's a war song. So when you're 5 minutes from a rugby game, it helps.
It helps. We've got a whole load of rugby clubs who are dialing in for this. So the clubs buy and then they punt it out to their members. So hopefully we've got a whole load of members around just now, and I hope they're donating a pint to their club, because they should be in the clubhouse watching this on the big screen, getting involved. Those days, unfortunately, are not with us at the moment. But some clubs there local to you, Minty, Pontyland, there's some crazy cats there.
Yeah, you got Tyndale, haven't you? And you've got Bladen Rugby Club as well, not far away.
Yeah.
Actually, from what I understand, more English rugby players. Junior clubs in Newcastle and Northumberland surrounding areas have produced more English rugby players than any other area in England. Did you know that?
No, I didn't, but that is an absolute belter. That is an absolute cracker.
I am actually in a rugby hotbed, not that people would realise it.
That's because everybody thinks it's just Alan Shearer up there.
Yeah. Or Paul Gascoigne.
Gaza, yeah. Good old Gaza. So come on then, give us your predictions. Yannick, what's the score going to be?
I think France will win by 6 points.
Do you agree, Nick?
I think England by 6. I'm just hoping that although this little half break doesn't look too promising, there's going to be plenty of them. I don't know why I'm getting worried about one. I just hope that England managed to use their sort of match. Oh goodness me! Oh no. Well, maybe not. Maybe England by 1. I've still got to back England. But that's a hell of a start for France. So everything we said about match sharpness, right? Forget about it. But obviously, Fabien Galtier and Sean Edwards have got the right amount of training into these boys to make sure that they're prepared. That's a hell of a try, in all fairness. That is one hell of a try. And, you know, they're scintillating ball in hand. You know, you can see the catch pass, the simple things done well. You know, Yannick will probably want to talk about his try.
No, it's I'm surprised the way they play. They play from far. You know, normally they are still kicking, but Virimi Vakatawa made a huge difference, fixing 3 players, and then created the space for Teddy Thomas. And as I told you, Teddy Thomas is one of the players who can create something from nothing. And this one-on-one situation with the little chip over the last defender, I think he scored maybe 10 tries in his career. And if it wasn't him this time, it was Antoine Dupont playing like a back row, running inside like a back row. That's his mark.
Nick, even when England shut them off there on the outside, they sort of boxed them in. France didn't panic, and almost every contact was French dominant.
Yeah, exactly. Look, they move the ball well. They use footwork. They have numbers in motion. Everything you'd want from an attack to move, you know, any defence around. And look, it's all about space, isn't it? Where's the space in the game? And you know, the French, when they're organised, when they're on song, they're probably one of the best in the world at identifying where it is. And you know, clearly with line speed and numbers on their feet in the front line being such a prevalent thing in fashion at the moment in rugby, that most of the space is in behind. And you know, when you put a 50-50 kick in or a kick in behind, and England are backpedaling, you know, you've got a 50-50 chance of getting that ball, as they did, to score the try. But if not, then the pressure's still on England. So it's a win-win situation.
Yannick, Dupont just seems to know where the ball's going to land.
Yeah. Their game playing is very, very structured. So now it's like their defense is very aggressive. They don't give points. They don't give a lot of points, and they will give back the ball with the kick. And you can see. I was talking about Brice Dulin, how good he was in the air. He just lost the ball.
What do we expect from Malins, Nick?
I think a little bit of Elliot Daly and Alex Good in one. You know, he's a footballer. He's good. He's comfortable with the ball in his hands, playmaking. He's a good distributor, but he's also a good counter attacker as well. A good basic skill set, and it'll be interesting that how he goes and what difference he makes, because England haven't played with a fullback since the days of Mike Brown. Elliot Daly, I think, is better off in the centre, and Anthony Watson's better off in the wing.
Anthony Watson's a hell of a player. Do you think the referee is going to play any part in this, Nick?
Hopefully not, mate. We don't want to talk about a referee, do we? We just want to talk about quality rugby. So, not mentioning him, he's had a good game, as they say.
Yeah.
And it can't be worse than last time. So.
I see he was running touch in the Wales-Italy game today, Pascal Guzer.
Yeah.
Being demoted.
There you go. Minty, Sean's asking, is Newcastle's Mike Brown worthy of a call-up?
Yeah, he's not quite there yet. And we don't know whether we've signed him yet, of course, as well. Look, at the end of the day, you know, Eddie's, you know, the funny thing is, Eddie said, didn't he? He said that 70% of this squad won't be in the 2023 World Cup squad, which is, I found very odd, because I'm like, well, why are you persevering with the 30% that aren't going to be there?
He said 70% won't be or will be.
No, sorry, only 70% will be.
Okay.
So 30% won't be, and you're sort of thinking, well, why are you wasting your time with that? Surely at this stage you've got to be thinking it's never going to be 100, obviously, but you know, surely 95% of them are likely going to be there. So I don't know whether he's persevering with some of those guys he's thinking might be over the hill, or past it, and in which case he just wants to win games and look after his record with England. I don't know, but I just think with so few tests left before the World Cup, you're better off persevering with people you think will be there.
But Nick, why does Eddie Jones say this stuff? Why does he throw? I mean, where's that stat coming from? That's just been pulled out of his hind parts.
Well, I would say it wouldn't be the only thing that has.
Yannick, what do you think about this French squad? Is this the squad for the 2023 World Cup?
Yeah, of course. It's like maybe, as Nick said, is 90% of this team will be at the World Cup. You can see the way Fabien Galtier is building. He's trying to give experience to all these players. He doesn't change a lot when he changes because there is an injury or maybe only injury at the moment. He didn't change someone because he had a poor performance, and I think we had a lot of talent, but not a lot of experience. So he will try to build the most experience he can for the next World Cup.
I'm just going to try and start the fire, but I'll still be on speaker.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Oh.
I'm glad you've not got your smalls on the dryer behind you, Nick.
Yeah, no, none of that. It's cold up in Newcastle.
You're gonna have to get used to being a northerner.
It's a good start. It's a good game to see. Good game to watch.
So, Yannick, are these signs of Sean Edwards' input that they were very patient? France are showing patience in defence.
Yeah, in defence and in the kicking game, I think too. They will, even if they don't have the ball. For example, like the last 3 or 4 minutes, they didn't have the ball. They won't. Once they will take the ball, they won't play from everywhere. They will just stick to the plan. That's the huge difference.
But that must be exciting to be a part of. That players must want to be a part of that when you've got the license to play from anywhere.
I don't know if it's a good thing. I think we need. The thing is creating a how can I say that in English? A collective brain. Does it make sense? Collective brain.
Yep.
All the players need to think the same. They need to think the same, and they need to know that when we are in this part of the field, everything can happen. When we are there, we need to be very good in this or that. That's very important.
Is that what the All Blacks have got over every other team?
Yeah, that's what I think. You can think they all think the same. There's no doubt about how we're gonna play. How we're gonna play a turnover, for example. How we play when we enter the 22. When they drive, where do we go from the drive to? It's very clear, and it has to be very clear in their mind.
Minty's going to start the fire and he's missing the good stuff.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah, it's going, mate. It's going. I have to keep it topped up.
That's an impressive record for Anthony Watson. 22 tries in 50 games.
Yeah. I think Tim Thomas has a good record as well. I need to check it.
England got lots of go forward ball there, Yannick.
Yeah.
No, he's a powerful athlete.
There seemed to be a lot more clarity about how England approached that, Nick, and they were able to go forward at each of the collisions.
Yeah, look, as I said, their attacks been criticised, wasn't it, after the first two games in the Autumn Cup, and there were signs of improvement in the game against Wales, and I'm sure that would have been a big focus for them in the last 2 weeks. And it looks like they were all in sync. They knew where they were meant to be, what they were trying to achieve, and most importantly, they executed when they needed to. What
does Itoje have to do? Because he took a pasting after the Welsh game. Does he just have to forget about it and get on with what he's very, very good at?
Yeah, he will. Look, it won't bother him too much. He's just got to learn when that starts happening and he's targeted by referees or players, just to not get caught up and become hot-headed in it and make it a personal battle. Understand that the effect it has on the team when you are giving penalties away. And, there's a famous saying, isn't it? It's like sort of ice in the head, body in the oven, head in the fridge. And none more so than when you are under pressure and you feel you are being targeted or you are giving penalties away. And so he can still be on the edge, but he's just got to be aware that maybe he's just got to paint the right pictures to the referee when, if he wants to be as destructive as he is.
It just seemed to snowball against Wales. It was like he couldn't get anything right. It was one of those, just seemed to be one of those days against Wales. Are you able to write that off as such an elite level performer?
Sorry, mate.
That's all right.
I'm just enjoying these snacks. Yes, look, you've got to put it to the back of your mind. Mistakes are going to be made, and it's part of his game. And as I said, he's a very disruptive. Some players are creative, some players are destroyers, and he's a destroyer. He's all over the opposition at set piece, at line out time. Defensively, he's all over the ball. His line speed's good. He's in your face. He's trying to terrorise the halfbacks. But with that, most penalties come against the defensive side. So if you are on the back foot, or if the referee's influenced in slightly different ways, and you become a target or you're given a couple of penalties away, you've got to understand the impact that has on the team, momentum, points on the board, and also actually, for the next 20 minutes, I'm just going to give half a yard defensively. I'm going to make sure that my timing's a little bit better and more accurate on the ball in terms of the picture I'm given. But what it doesn't mean is that you go soft in any of those collisions, or you're doing things half-heartedly, because then actually you're probably more of a detriment to your team than not actually doing what you're good at.
And he was being touted as a Lions captain, so he's obviously one of the head honchos in this England squad. He's a leader. Who is it that's saying to him, Maro, you need to rein it in a bit? Is that Owen Farrell's job?
Well, that is. I think that's the question that's been asked, isn't it? In terms of England's leadership, I think that's been the issue when England are under pressure. France, when they beat them last year, South Africa World Cup final, Scotland this year, Wales this year, when they haven't managed to achieve gain line and go forward and out-muscling opponents, despite the amount of caps a lot of those players carry, they don't seem to be able to wrest momentum away. As Marchand makes a break here. And they don't seem to be able to stop that momentum, stall it, and get it back in their favour, really. And that's the sort of questions that have been asked. But as far as him being touted as a captain and giving 5 penalties away, that shouldn't count against him. Listen, Martin Johnson's one of the, if not the greatest rugby's ever had, and he gave some penalties away. And he gave some penalties away when he was captain. It's all part of the learning process. Everyone has a bad game. He has very, very, very few of them. In fact, even when England don't play well, he's always one of their standout players. I would make him captain. I think it's important to have a forward as captain personally. The contentious issues in the game are always, or the games you can influence, a referee on a scrum maul and breakdown. A fly half or a fullback or a centre isn't in as many of them as a forward or a back five forward. But But that's my own personal view. But I also think he's a calming voice. People listen to him. He doesn't talk too much. He leads by his actions all the time. And I think, Owen Farrell at the moment, he's captain, but he's also calling plays. He's also kicking goals. He's got a lot on his shoulders. And I think that can sometimes get to him.
I agree, 100%. I agree what he said. And and I also think a forward should be captain, and Maro Itoje can be England captain for sure. And you can have like Owen Farrell as the vice captain.
I always like the thought of the forward being the captain, just the imposing nature, the handshake, that sort of following somebody into battle. I know you need someone that can talk, but having somebody that physically you're going to follow.
And also you're always in the heart of the game when you're forward. If it's a scrum or line out, that's the thing.
Best captain you played with, Nick?
I enjoyed Phil Vickery and Chris Robshaw, my club mate. Probably international and club level.
Yannick, best captain?
I would say Dimitri Zalewski. He's my best friend. So.
Well, that means you don't have to say, is he your favourite captain?
Yeah. Anthony Watson is having a huge game.
Getting a lot of broken field opportunities.
Yeah.
Is your 50th cap just another cap?
No, of course not.
No?
No cap is just another cap.
You can't think too much about it, though. You've got to treat it as if it's just not another game, but as if it's another test match. You've got to prepare for. You're playing against some of the world's best players, representing your country, and you've just got to get all those processes right that you've done for the previous 49.
Yannick, when I was talking about when the replacements come on, you said you don't think about it, you just do it. So is a lot of the thinking before the kickoff, my family, my journey, the country, my anthem, and then when you get into the game, it's all that learned behaviour. I just got to keep doing the things I know I can do.
Yeah, that's what I liked the most in the preparation. You think a lot about the context of the game and all what is around the game, the opposition, and the more the game is coming, the more you focus on yourself. And once the kickoff is started, it's just like you don't even think, you just do. You don't think that much. Things happen so fast. And you prepare. You are so prepared about what you're going to do that you don't really think. I don't know if it makes sense or.
Yeah.
Mate, you're spot on. It just becomes autonomous. It's automatic.
Yeah,
you should never have time to think. It should just become second nature.
Yeah.
Everything, your decision making, and the thing is in the back row as well. The back row is chaos. Playing at 10, playing at fullback, you might see pictures. You might be able to be quite analytical and compute what's going on. But the back row, you're getting up, you're making a tackle, you're bouncing back, you're competing for the ball, you're getting in the defensive line. Then maybe there's a turnover, then you're carrying into traffic. It's just constant chaos, and the ability to execute and make the right decisions under physical pressure, as well as fatigue, is you can't be spending time thinking about what you're doing. It comes with all the practice and training you've done.
If you boys in the back row thought too much, you would probably think, what the hell am I doing? It's time to stop.
Oh, here we go. Newcastle boy, Wills.
He's a quality operator.
He is, unfortunately, it's a knock on.
I think I have 30 seconds late on you.
I think I'm even later than that, Yannick, so don't worry. Yeah, folks, tweet us your pictures of your setup because there's a prize. You'll get a login for next week's game, our last game, England against Ireland. We've got another couple of legends lined up. So the best setup that we see, and that will be judged by our panel from the Rugby Tour specialists who are off screen. They're going to choose the best setup, and that will get you a login for next week.
France got lucky there.
You need some.
Kyle Sinclair got a big game in him today, Nick. He's somebody that's a bit of a talisman for England.
Yeah, he is. He's a great guy to have around the group. He's full of energy. He's quite humorous, but most importantly, he's a quality player. And I think, but ultimately, he understands that. I come back to what I said earlier. The French obviously challenging you more than the other sides in the Six Nations at set piece, and he knows his primary job is to deliver a scrummage performance.
There's a fair bit of set play set up there. Oh, Yannick, look at that for a question.
Are you the coolest man in Paris? Of course. Of course I am.
Nick, there's got to be a follow-up to that, Nick.
I don't disagree, mate. Don't disagree.
There's got to be a follow-up there.
Only since Dan Carter left Racing Metro.
Yeah, Finn Russell's not quite the Dan Carter-esque, is he?
Well, probably not in style, no, but he's not far off in terms of what he does on the field.
Not in the style, for sure.
Dan Carter, what do you reckon? Is he going to be the next James Bond?
He can be if you want.
He can put, yeah, exactly. If he wanted to put his mind to it.
Yeah.
What did you two make of scrums hanging off the back there? How important was it to your game?
A great opportunity for a rest.
Great opportunity for what? Sorry, I didn't hear.
Nick took a great opportunity for a rest, he says, at a scrum.
Good time to have a breather, Yannick.
Of course, yeah. Especially at 8.
Was ball carrying the bit for you, Nick? Was that the bit you loved the most?
Yeah, look, yeah, of course I did. Everyone wants to get the ball in their hand, don't they? That's really why you probably play, most people. And the opportunity being a number 8, to carry off the back of a scrum, or you have that automatic link, don't you, with the backs as a number 8. So yeah, enjoyed it. Especially when you had the mindset to play as a team. So this French team would have been fun to play with.
Yannick, what was the bit you loved?
What was the what?
What was the part of the game you loved? Was it creating that turnover, or was it carrying the ball, or
Ball carrying for sure?
Ball carrying, always.
Yeah, ball carrying. Yeah, you had to do the rest, but you take pleasure carrying the ball, passing the ball, scoring. That's the main thing. But yeah, it's like it's also a general things. When you feel tired, when you feel so everywhere, it means that you had a good game.
Do you feel like the game's settled down a bit now, or are we just trying to find some space?
It's like it's a chess game, as I told you. It's a chess game, kicking game. To get the position in the 30 or in the 40. So now that's a good ball for France. I don't know where.
I tell you what, I love Dupont's delay of the pass though around the breakdown. It's asks a lot of questions of the defence.
So Nick, Yannick's been talking about gameplay. Is that because he's played a lot of rugby? Or is it because when they train in game situations? Where does that come from?
Yeah, I mean, look, the game's the greatest teacher, isn't it? So whatever you're doing training, and with France obviously not having played a game for 4 weeks, I'd imagine a lot of the sessions would have been, a higher intensity, for short blocks, game simulated really, to get them up to scratch.
As a forward pack, is that the 9 you want to play with? Because he's always going to create chances for you. He can always find you.
For sure, so far.
Oh.
Love the sound effects.
Is it a try, Nick?
I don't think it is, mate. I don't think it is. What I do like, though, is the tactic that not a lot of sides realise that there's so much space when you get to goal line with 14, 15 defenders in the line that, just causing problems with the kicking game. Again, the little dinks over the top.
Why, Nick, when you get an advantage so close to the line, do teams not try and play?
Yeah, it's a good question, mate. A lot of scrum halves do that, don't they? I remember a scrum half I played with, Danny Kerr, always used to have a pot shot of a cross kick or a chip for himself because it was a shot to nothing to be the glory boy. But I don't think that's the case here. I think Dupont spotted the space. Yeah. I think he saw there was no one in behind, and it was the right call. Look, that bounce actually was pretty unfavourable to France, but then they got one that was favourable slightly in the first tries. But you've got to keep probing to ask questions.
And also, it's you don't want to waste too much energy, So you have the advantage. You have to try to score as quick as you can, saving a lot of energy. And if it doesn't succeed, then you have 3 easy points.
So is that discussed beforehand then? Because that's a great point, Yannick. Is that something you talk about?
It depending on the team, but there is some team that you say, okay, you just try to go for the extra pass or the winning, the offload or the little chip, because it's as we call that a free ball. It's a free ball. Once you get the advantage, it's a free ball. So you get attempt whatever you want. It's a free ball. You'll be back to the penalty. So just for me, I don't understand when you just continue, for example, pick and go with the forwards, or when you have a advantage, just play.
England not giving away as many penalties, much better against a very good French attacking force. Come back after the first minute. Nick, would there have been a lot of chat in the last couple of weeks about that?
Oh, almost definitely. You heard in the media, in the press, that I think England got a referee in, didn't they? I can't remember who it was, to discuss the penalties and to try and basically make them aware and upskill of what they're looking for and why they were penalised. As I speak, we're penalised, but.
Nick, should players
more an attacking penalty?
Should players take more responsibility to know that you're saying they got a referee in, but almost the horse had bolted by then? Should players not know that?
They should. They play enough games, enough high-power games. How you speak to the ref and how to treat the ref, and that's a thing. An issue Owen Farrell has is he's a very emotive guy, and how he comes across and how he speaks to the ref is very, very combative, very, very aggressive, and referees won't like that. That's right off the training field. That right off the training field. Is that Fabien Galtier, do you reckon, Yannick?
Yeah, of course. I think that's the way he thinks. Oh. Okay. Sorry, I wasn't there.
That was a brilliant try.
You were talking about this try. If it was Fabien Galtier,
I think sometimes you've got to sit there and applaud.
Yeah, but I think it's Laurent Labitte. Laurent Labitte, the back attacking coach. He got a lot of.
Who's the attacking coach?
Laurent Labitte.
Oh yeah. Wasn't he a forward?
Yeah. No.
Yeah. I like that. I like it. He was a number 8, wasn't he? He's an attack coach. I like that.
No, he was a 10. Not Christian Labitte, Laurent Labitte.
Oh, I'm thinking of Christian. Yeah.
Christian.
I thought that when someone mentioned the coaching staff, I thought, oh, was that the number 8? He used to have blonde hair, didn't he?
Yeah, that's Christian.
Right. Okay. Laurent Labitte.
This is okay. Laurent played for Cast. He was playing fly off, and now he's an attacking coach. And there was a duet, Laurent Travers, forward coach, and Laurent Labitte, backs coach and attacking coach. Very, very good in all these moves. And
mate, to be honest, the number 8 would have come up with a better play than that. So.
So Yannick, have they looked at England and thought this is the move, or would that have worked against England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, Italy?
No, this is the move against England. You see the way Laurent just celebrate this try, like doing like this. That's because it's his move, and also the last kickoff. There was a cell of 3 players, a spot of 3 players, French player. They gave it to the last and give it back to the 9, and they play it and they kick it. It's because they want to make the winger and 8 coming into the line to be able to kick there. So everything is planned about with England defense, and there will be different move, or maybe the same move with a different exit for the next game. And
Tell you what, there's some pace to this game. It's a quick game. We're just missing a big crowd. That's all.
Yeah.
I mean, England, you know, the way the French are playing, they're forcing England to now up the tempo as well.
England will be reasonably happy though, Nick, that it's close and they're in it and they've shown some attack and they've shown some discipline.
Yeah. Well, I think they've learned from the Wales game, haven't they? That they've just got to make sure they control what they control with the ball. Just check this fire.
Yannick, what's it like being at Twickenham when they start to sing "Swing Low, Sweet Chariot" and you're an opposing player?
No, it's motivating. Even if when you're opposing player, you know, we are rugby player, but we are rugby fans too. So we hear that so much that when you hear that, it's like just being part of this. It's you wanna turn up, you know. You wanna show a good image of yourself in a crowd like this.
I love when you say that you weren't just a player; you were a rugby fan. Would you have spoken like that when you were a player, or was everything focused on performance? And
no, of course. I remember one of the best speech I ever heard is like it was Thierry du Sautoir before the World Cup final. It's like he just said to the boys, bring them to we're not playing the ABs in the Eden Park Stadium. He just named all the first club of every player and saying, okay, we're gonna bring them to our field.
Oh,
like he's from Treissac. It's a small city in Bordeaux. He say, I'll bring them to Treissac. I'll bring them. It's like I'll be there. I'll think I'm in my hometown club and playing the ABs. So it will be on my term. I don't know if it makes sense in
no,
English.
absolutely.
And then he was talking to every players and talking to William Savat, talking to Dimitri, saying, okay, you're gonna bring them to Biarritz, you're gonna bring them to Delfield, and it's gonna be on our terms. And I think and especially French players, you can't just touch the player. You have to touch the man. If it's just about playing a rugby game, strategy, and everything, I think we are an average team. When you take it to the manhood of every player on the field, it's different.
So there's still a place for that emotion. Can that be the decider, Nick? If you get the emotion right, is that the difference in elite sport?
I mean, look, it's rugby. I wouldn't say elite sport necessarily, but rugby requires so much from you physically that if you're slightly off him, you know, from the emotional side, you don't get it right. So I'm just marveling at this passage of play here. It's just non-stop ball in play.
There's players popping up in all sorts of places now because it's just gone on for so long.
This is absolutely exceptional attacking play. I mean, that's a hell of a turnover there. I think it's Tom Curry. But that was end-to-end stuff, non-stop ball in play for a long time. Great attacking play, keeping the ball alive, clearing the ruck, speed of ball from the French. It's actually the English that look absolutely knackered from this as well now. I mean, there's no way France should have had the right to get out of their, 30 metres from their line twice. Now we're in for a humdinger of a game here.
It's just outrageous. So when you've played like this is wearing people down. Does this mean come second half there's going to be gaps?
Well, I think that's possibly what the French are looking at, with the 6-2 bench there. And this is obviously the intent they've come to Twickenham with, to play and move the ball. It requires a lot more from you physically, on your feet, big, heavy men, that to maintain that pace than, having those 6 forwards is knowing also the challenge that England are going to present from a set piece point of view. It'd be interesting to see whether England try and slow the game down or try and keep the high tempo, high pace of the game that they brought for the first half an hour.
In the run up to Saturday, then you've got your 8 players on the bench. How much time is spent with them as a team, with the new 8 on?
I don't get the question. What do you say?
So you obviously prepare as a 15 because that's how the first 40 minutes is going to go. But you have 8 players ready to come on who might play a quarter of the game with those 8 players on the field. So is a quarter of your preparation time spent with that 15 on the field?
No,
probably not. I would say a quarter. It's always a balance you try and get right, as a coach now and a coaching staff, how much time you give the subs. You certainly give them a lot of the high intensity stuff, reps, but as you sort of build up maybe the day before a game, start with them and then finish off with the starters, because obviously you want that to feed and flow into the Saturday game.
Boys are going to enjoy a rest, I think. All right, gentlemen, we'll give you a chance to have a break. We'll play an advert from our sponsors, Glen Turret. We'll come back. We'll have a look at some pictures of the setups, and we'll get your predictions, not necessarily for the game, but for man of the match. Because the man of the match predictor, the winner will get a bottle of Glen Turret. So having your insight after 40 minutes might be useful to some of the guesses. So we'll take a little break. We'll hear from Glen Turret, and then we'll be back with you for some halftime. Although it looks like Glen Turret have gone for a holiday.
Here, at Scotland's oldest working distillery, everything we do is underpinned by the 3 touchstones of the Glen Turret Trinity: provenance, prowess, and passion. Our extraordinary provenance is founded upon the long history of this special place, the remarkable endeavours of past generations of owners and distillers, and the unique character of the new make spirit that continues to define the Glen Turret today. Our traditional prowess is built upon the skill and expertise that goes into handcrafted whisky making. An unusually slow distillation process, and a resolute commitment to small batch production. Finally, our enduring passion reflects our continuing fascination with the tradition of distilling. Our delight in every step of the whisky-making journey, and our deep desire to bring whisky lovers moments to treasure, in spirit and glass. The Glen Turret. by hand and heart since 1763.
Enough. 4:30 this morning. What happened last night? So I went round to one of my school friends has just moved.
Hello, everyone. We're back. Right, let's see your setups. I hear that we've got some pictures of where you are and what you're watching. So I hope that you realise that there are prizes up for grabs here. So your best setup, let's see.
Too heavy or hectic. It was just, when you get there at like 6:30, 7,
You keep drinking.
Yeah.
Let's see your big screen. Let's see what's going on with your laptop or phone or however it is you're watching us. Let's see that. Have you got face painted? What's going on? So I think we've got some pictures that we can have a look at. Gabriel, Hugo, and Alfred the dog from Fairford RFC. Alfred looks like he's knackered. Did he maybe had to play in that little run-up of play just before half-time? Alfred, I love it. Gabriel and Hugo, I'm afraid you're not the stars of that picture, but it's really cool to see you, and I think you're supporting England. Let's see if we can get a question in for Nick Easter. Gabriel and Hugo, question for the second half. That's your challenge. Alfred, you just enjoy yourself, you beautiful beast. Who else have we got? Terry. Terry from the Stoop. He must be a Nick Easter fan. Good to see Terry with the red rose on. Hopefully, second half, I'm going to keep going the way it's going, Terry. Terry from the Stoop. Love it. That looks pretty comfortable there too, Terry. Just a cup of tea, I think. Christian Taylor, look at that. There we are. More proof of Nick Easter getting tucked in about the Snackfully Snacks. Scrum about to come down. That's a great picture, actually. You've timed that beautifully, Christian. You've got Nick having a munch, and then you've got the scrum about to pack down. So well done, Christian. I like it. So the winner of the setup will be announced after the final whistle, and you will get a login for next week's game, which is Ireland against England, and could be a very important game in the run-up of things to see how we go. So make sure you get your pictures into us. Now, at the end of the game, we'll also announce the man of the match winner. So if you get the prediction to match up with the ITV pundits and who they pick as man of the match, you will win a bottle of Glen Turret. So get that into that number down there now. And please make sure you include your name. We got a whole load of messages in last week with a prediction of the man of the match, but people forgot to add their name in. So make sure that you put the man of the match and your name so that when we announce it, we know who's winning that bottle of Glen Turret. And it is mighty fine. Now, I've got a question here for Nick Easter from somebody I think he knows. So I'm hoping Nick's going to tune back in, because we've got a question here from Tim Visser, who I think he knows. I think he's aware of Tim Visser, having been a Harlequins teammate. So we'll get that question to him, because I think it's some mischief. I think Visser's on the wind-up.
Just for if you wanted to stay here as two families or two couples.
Nick, are you with us, Nick?
Good timing, mate.
Good timing. I like it. Nick, we've got a question in from somebody I think you know. So Tim Visser. Yeah, there you go. I knew that would get a little bit of a chuckle. Tim Visser has sent a message saying, "Can you tell us about your end of season trip to the Cannes Film Festival?"
That was fun, mate. That's as they say, what goes on tour stays on tour. But all I'll say is that needs to get reorganised pretty quick when it gets there.
Well, Tim Visser's not really dealt with the whole what goes on tour stays on tour. There seems to have been an issue with you singing French opera and you nearly sunk a speedboat.
Well, look, that just goes to, all I'm saying is he's just reaffirming my admiration for all things Gallic, isn't he? It wasn't French opera. It was actually an attempt at the entire sort of ensemble cast soundtrack to Les Miserables on there. on a train from one place to another, which didn't go down too well with the locals, actually. It had more to do with my singing voice, completely out of tune than anything else.
I would have taken a brave person to ask you to be quiet, I would imagine.
No, the French don't care. You know, if you're English, they'll tell you, look, shut up.
Yannick, what's your thoughts? Help out the people who are watching. Who do you think's heading for man of the match here?
I'll say Mathieu Jalibert, the flyer for the moment.
When do you think Intimac comes on?
It's going to be hard. Maybe Romain can come at 12.
Okay.
Jalibert played at 15, didn't he, last week for Bordeaux?
Yeah, he played 15, but I think he had a great game. He's having a great game. I would change if they are still leading after at like 20 minutes from the end of the game. I would change one of the winger to put Gaël Ficou on the wing, Romain Tamac at 12 with Vakatawa, and you add more because our two wingers are very, very good in offense. They are not as good as they are in offense in defense. So to manage the score and keep the things going, and when I see the game Mathieu Jalibert is having, I'll push Gaël Ficou on the wing.
It must be a tough one, Nick. When you obviously pick your bench, you have to have a scrum half, you have to have a front row. So those players are probably expecting to be removed. But if they're absolutely on it, when do you make your judgment call to make the change? Is it just a gut feeling?
You don't have to. You don't have to make the change. I don't believe anyone should be conditioned to play 50 minutes. You've got to be conditioned to play 80 minutes. And a 9 and 10 especially is a little bit different in the energy sapping positions, certainly in the front five, where, your energy basically provides the intensity and impact you have to a game. Whereas a 9 and 10, where if you've got the flow, the speed of the game management, the identification of what's going on from an opposition point of view and your own team, and you're calling the shots, you don't necessarily have to make that change. I don't think they should feel they need to make that change.
Do you only take Dupont off if you've won the game or lost the game?
Well, clearly, with 20 to go, I mean, I wouldn't take Dupont off. I think he's causing the English so many problems. He is central to the flow of the French attack. If I was an Englishman, I'd be happy to see him off, put it that way. So I wouldn't do it if I was French.
Yeah, but if you know Baptiste Serin, I don't think you'll be happy because Baptiste.
No, I do. I know. I've seen Baptiste Serin. He's a class player as well.
I know. I agree with you with the fact that Antoine Dupont is a great player, but I think sometimes you can get used to a type of play, and when another scrum half come and change the rhythm again, it can be so. As you said, it's. I don't think you have to plan this, and I agree the fact that every player should be able to play 80 minutes, but it's depending on the scenario of the game. You need to have like thinking about what will have the impact, because for me, what requires high level is too much that you can't just use 15 players. If you have like, it's impossible, but you have like 23 players on the same level until they get tired, no matter how fit they are. It's if you put in a fresh player, it's, for example, Kamisha. If Kamisha comes in for the last 20 minutes, it's like I don't know. It's he's a energetic bowling ball going everywhere.
The commentators enjoy him as well.
Jamie George must be up for this as well, Nick. He must be desperate to get on.
Yeah, I think he will. I think both sets of forwards benches will be emptied. there's been a high ball in play time, a high pace of a quick ruck speed. And they've both been very accurate with ball in hand as well. So there's been long periods of attack or defence. And I expect both forwards benches to be emptied. And as far as the backs, as we're sort of talking about there, it'll all depend on, sometimes coaches look at the GPS numbers and things like that, and your high speed meters. And if that starts to drop off, they like to use the stats. But otherwise, I'd like to think that they can just do it by their coaching eye and instinct. And, if they feel, as we're discussing, Dupont sort of dropping off maybe a little bit slower to the breakdown than he was, then they can bring on Sterrat, and he can actually up the tempo and make it even more of a nightmare for the English. And England likewise, if they bring on Ollie Lawrence at centre, it gives them something a little bit different. It's like, okay, we've got a bit of ballast there to match yours, but also we can be a little bit more direct and ask a few more questions of you.
Tom Curry must sit in a changing room at the end of games absolutely broken.
Not as broken as if he carries on for another 10 years playing as he is. He's only 21, 22 years old. His ability to recover is at its peak, as Yannick and myself know. It's when you start creeping into your 30s that you wish you were that age again.
I said to Yannick earlier, Nick, does he miss playing? Do you miss it? Or are you just thinking
I said earlier, look, when I retired, I got into coaching. I think maybe 8 games that year. I was like, God, I wish I was out there. Then it reduced the next year, then the next. Look, of course, I love the game, and there's moments when you're fired up as well for the lads, and you'd want to be out there. But I know what goes into training every single week, preparing yourself every single week, outside of what who's watching. I also know that, as I mentioned before, I had my time playing. You can't play forever. I had my time. I've just got to now try and help the next generation make the best of their abilities, really. And it's their moment to play. I feel very fortunate, very lucky to have played to the level I did and play so many games and represent my club and country that, I'm happy with my lot, really. There's regrets. Of course there is. You wish you could play certain games again, or you didn't do what you did, at certain times. But you're always going to have that. And it's these guys. We're here to watch these guys now.
Is the second half 2 halves, Yannick? Is it 20 minutes and then when the benches unload, it changes to a different game?
Yeah, I think now games aren't decided before the 60th minute. I think that's what I think. It's like there is everyone is on their best shape. It's like the game plan is very well organized, and before the 60th minute. No one drop his fitness. So now after 60 minutes, you will see some mistakes, some space and opportunity, and the coaching will be key after 50, 60 minutes. Maybe earlier because they play from everywhere. So maybe earlier for this game.
Who does Errol come on for, Nick?
I think Earl will probably come on for someone like Mark Wilson. But again, they'll probably keep an eye. The thing is, what you can't see from TV is how tired players are getting off the ball, because obviously it's a lot of close-ups. So I think it depends how Billy Vunapola's going. I think Tom Curry's likely to stay on. I think he's a fantastic player, both sides of the ball. He's able to be a threat in attack and offer an attack, and also defensively do his job. I think Ben Earl will probably come on either at 8 to give more pace to the back row entirely, or possibly at 6. But I know Mark Wilson, obviously coaching at Newcastle, and that guy could play 280 minutes and not even look tired. You don't have to worry about his fitness. Hands on the deck first there, weren't they, Yannick? Hands on the deck?
Yeah.
Who does the work on turnovers? The defensive coach or the attacking coach, or who is it that leads on that?
Well, you either have a breakdown coach, or it will be, if you're talking about the jackal, it's generally the defense coach. But you could have a specialist breakdown coach who might do both, attacking and defensive breakdown. He's a strong bloke, isn't he, Fakatau?
Yeah.
I just love the way that Dupont clears the ruck, pulls the ball from the breakdown, when you think England are close to it and he pulls it away. But I think England defensively have been absolutely brilliant so far. This is the most threatening side they've had in a long, long time. Oh. This is where the back rows get a lot of rest.
Yeah. You never complain about this break. Never complain about this.
I'll tell you why I hated Yannick. I don't know about you, but if you're starting this game and you get subbed off on about 55, 60 minutes, and it's a game of such high quality as this, and it's nip and tuck and it's going to go to the wire, and you just wanted to be a part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I never like to be subbed in any game.
If you get subbed off at Racing, though, Yannick, you can have a dance in the disco.
There we go.
Well, you said if I get subbed off, I can have a dance.
You can have a dance in the disco at Racing, can't you? You play your games in a disco.
Yeah. But still, the disco is on the field. Oh.
How does that atmosphere help players play?
It's like, it's one of the best venues now in the top 40 and also in Europe. It's very, what you like in the venue. It's first is the crowd. How the crowd is. Wait here.
It's the kind of stadium that wouldn't really work in a lot of other countries.
Yeah.
What do you reckon, Nick? Could Harlequins or Falcons or somebody create an atmosphere like they've got at Racing?
I think it's very hard because it's something that's tied to the history, and France. I'm just thinking I'm talking. I mean, France are unique in the way they support their clubs. I think. I absolutely love going away and playing in the French stadiums with the crowd there stamping their feet, banging the chairs, banging the stands, whatever it was, and getting behind their team for various moments in a game, before a game as well, and the show they used to put on. And I think they're very unique in that, and it doesn't just happen overnight. You can't sort of manufacture that and make it false and say, right, everyone's got to do this, everyone's got to do that. They've got to want to do it. It's got to be passed down for generation, or they look next to them, and this is what we do, sort of thing. If you are new to the ground, and and a lot of that comes within the sort of fanaticism and support and passion for the town. There's no reason why they can't do it, but I suppose English are a little bit more reserved, aren't they, in showing their emotions? Look, the English fans, I think the English support European sports the best in the world as far as sports concerned, not just rugby, but I think that the passion is unbelievable. But if you're talking about home games in rugby, I think French club rugby takes some beating.
Yannick, why can French teams not win away from home? Is it because of those home fans? Is that the deciding factor?
Of course, and they are the deciding factor on the referee, because when there is actions, as a referee, you have to be sorry, excuse my French, but you have to have big balls to whistle against the home team. So it's like, and that's why in since the coronavirus crisis, there is no public in the stadium, and 40% of victory away, and I think it used to be 10 or 15 before. Yeah. So now it's 40. We played 9 games away with Racing. We won 6. We won more games away than home.
I remember speaking to Jake White, and he was saying that was something he wanted to change when he went to France. But it seems that it is an ingrained part of the culture. Why would you want to be a referee in France? You must be mad.
Yeah. That's why we need to give them credit and give them more money. I think because there is only 5 professional referees in France, and I think the next big change we need to have is how to have a fully professional referee in our championship.
Some of the money must be considered danger money in France.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go, Nick. Were you tempted by France?
Couple of times, seriously. There's always, whenever your contract's up, there's always interest. But there was, a couple of decisions. 2009, Clermont, Vern Cotter wanted me over there, and I was in negotiation with Quins, and then 2012, Toulon with Bernard Laporte, and after the 11 World Cup. I think Johnny Wilkinson, Simon Shaw already over there from the English contingent. And that's probably the one. Look, there was good reasons for me staying at Quins, but it might well be the one that I probably, regret, but think I probably missed out because they went on to win 3 European trophies. they probably wouldn't have won them if I had signed for them, but
Yannick, is part of this French purple patch because the World Cup?
What do you say?
Is part of this French preparation because of the World Cup?
Yeah, of course.
But is it because it's in France, so it's not just the World Cup, but it's a really important World Cup with it being at home.
Yeah, and we never won it. England won it. New Zealand won it 3 times. South Africa the same. I think Australia won it 2 times. We are a big country of rugby, but we never won the World Cup. So I think now everyone is on the same line. Club teams, union, everyone on the same line to make something to win the World Cup. So clubs are helping a lot with. We got a convention now, and 1 week before the start of the internationals, we leave the players. There is a lot of relationship between the rugby union and the club, because we all know that it will benefit all the French rugby if France win the World Cup.
So, I'm not going to ask. I'm not going to ask you if you can win it, Yannick. I'm going to ask Nick. Do you think France can win it, Nick?
I do think they can win it. And I think England can win it. I think South Africa. I think New Zealand can win it. I think they're probably your four most likely teams. But France, there's a big difference. They've got, we spoke about it the other day, you know, they've got under-20s winners from 2 Junior World Cups. Most of their teams made up from that. They've got a strong spine of young players. They're a lot more professional. They've not got the scars of previous generations. They've got belief, and they've got a bloody good coaching staff for the first time in a long time. And there's clearly, you know, Bernard Laporte, the master politician, has, you know, clearly done his research and put his plans in place. And at the moment, you know, they seem to be going pretty well. I think France would like to obviously win, possibly. They've got to win a Grand Slam either this year or in the next 2 years, like England in 2003, you know, to prove that they can do it when the pressure's on. But there's no reason why they can't do it. You know, last year they missed out by 1 game of sending off in Scotland. They've got youth on their side, age on their side, and they seem to be pretty mature despite the lack of caps. And that's only going to, you know, and their experience is only going to get, you know, they're only going to gather more caps, aren't they, and experience from here till 2023.
So you think that would make a big difference, Yannick? You think that would help the whole club game?
Yeah, of course. The whole club games, the rugby, the economy of French rugby will be way better. And you know, we just signed the TV rights for the next three or 4 years. I think we were at around 100 million euro a year, and we increased from 12%. So yeah, I think French rugby is in good health, but good result will help us definitely to grow as a sport in the country and international.
I think you might see a few substitutions happening now.
It's starting to just get a little bit disjointed, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of penalties at the moment.
How long do you reckon Mako's got left, Minty?
Oh, Mako can play for 80, mate. Don't worry about Mako.
Yeah. Sure.
I think maybe Jamie George, Kyle Sinclair, one of the back rows maybe. It's mainly a support, but Karen Dickey just got done for holding on. Might be a trigger for Eddie. You know what Eddie's like. He's, you know, he might not do. He might decide to give him 80 minutes because, you know, Jamie George has started a lot of rugby, but possibly Johnny Hill on in the second row. I like him a lot. I think he's a quality player, and you know he's got a big future for rugby.
How old is he?
He's only about 23, 24. Big boy, 6'11", tough. You know, good carrier, good tackler, physical, calls the line outs.
Yannick, in the UK, there's a lot of talk about Eddie's selection. Is there anybody in France that's not in the squad that you think should be, or that we should be watching out for?
No, not yet. There is a lot of youngsters coming. Generation 2000, Generation 2002, but they are just 18 at the moment. But I think 2002 players. For example, we have a 18 years old players called Nolan Le Garec, which plays scrum half. He got it all at 18. So He's injured at the moment, but I'm sure he's gonna be, for example, in 2023. If he doesn't mess up, he got everything to be there. And all this generation, there is a brand new generations coming that I think they will. When we will put this on, it's like Spain in football. They had good generation, but not winning titles. And once they got it, they had like 10 or 12 years dominating the football. And I think if France works good, this can happen because the depth France has, you can't even imagine. Even in club rugby, for example, I think racing doesn't have that much to go around to sign players. There is so many good young players in Paris that we have 400,000 people playing rugby in France.
So you think the French are getting selection right? You think they're picking the right players at the moment?
Yeah, the right player. Maybe starting team, or maybe I don't know, Dylan Crétin there. Maybe I'll start Cameron Woki, maybe because I think Cameron Woki is as good as Dylan in lineout. He's taller, but I think in offense he's a little bit faster than Dylan. I think Anthony Gelange will be huge as well. He's growing and growing, and I think in the top 14 is the best back row in the top 14 at the moment. So I don't know. We can't change the captain, but I really think that Anthony Gelange is a great player. And but they are all in the squad, so there's no question about picking someone that is not in the team.
What does a change at 9 mean for England, Nick?
What's that, mate?
What does a change at 9 mean for England? What do you get changing 9?
Well, Dan Rolton can up the pace. He's a little bit more threatening around the breakdown. Quick taps. His box kicking's not quite so good. His game management, but I suppose England. I don't think the box kicking is going to win them the game from here. The way France control territory so well and balance that with their ball in hand stuff, I think England, when they get possession, need to be a little bit more threatening. Although Ben Youngs, I think, has had a good game in terms of threatening with ball in hand.
Yeah. I think of the games in the Six Nations, this has been one of the fewest box kicks. That hasn't included Italy, because why would you bother? But there's been so few box kicks in this game because the ball's just been available to play.
Because I think
about now, they're only 22. England have won that kicking battle.
Here's another one for you, Nick. What do you think of Eddie Jones's thoughts on backs being able to jump into the back row and vice versa? Do you think that's the future? It's seen at grassroots level. Do you think back row and backs are interchangeable?
My immediate thought on that is, if the game carries on as it is in terms of, them not increasing the match 23, and keeping it as it is, then no, because you're obviously going to get better results with more specialists. But if they reduce the number of subs, which is being considered, 3 or 4 subs, and your front row's your front row, then possibly that could come into selection, couldn't it? I'd never ever think it does any harm for players to play in as many positions as possible, because not only does it help their skill set and game understanding, awareness in that position, but it also gives them an appreciation of that position, so they understand their role and their job a little bit better and how it impacts the team.
What other position would you play, Yannick? Would you have been at fly half?
Fly half, no, definitely no. I used to play centre when I was 15.
Tell you what, this game's like a Bledisloe Cup game, New Zealand, Australia, isn't it? The way it's being played, It's like ball in play. Teams running it for their own 22. Oh, there's a drop goal now from 45 metres. Elliot Daly going bazooka boot here.
Minty, you must have been a handy 12.
12's probably my limit, mate, when I was playing professional rugby, yeah. So I did have to slot in there a few times for sin bins or substitutions, or if we'd run out of players. I didn't mind it in attack so much. Defence, a little bit more problematic. Stick me on the blind side if there's a short blind side, I think.
I don't think there'd be too many fly halves looking forward to you standing at 12.
Well, mate, to be honest, the centres are bigger than me anyway nowadays. Certainly quicker.
What a game. I'm tired just watching it.
I mean, look at that now.
Fire's looking good, fellas, by the way. Fire's looking good.
Oh, yes. Gotta love that.
This could be a big passage here if France get points on the board. That was sloppy from him. That's first phase.
Any changes to your man of the match thoughts, Nick? Anybody you think standing out now, or is Dupont the easy choice?
I don't think he's the easy choice, no. I think Jalibert's had a cracking game. Managing the game. I think if England end up winning it, it will probably go to Tom Curry. I think it's been monumental defensively. And if France win it, I think it's been their ambition with ball in hand, and Jalibert's been central to it along with Dupont.
Do you agree with that, Yannick? Jalibert was who you said at halftime. You sticking with him?
Yeah, I'm sticking with him. He's leading the team in a good way. His kicking game is good. On the field, is to the post as well. If France win, he's going to be the man of the match for me. And Dupont is not so far behind.
The line-out's not been smooth for either team, really, has it?
No, and it's down to the quality of the opposition as well. You know, both teams have got a lot of line-out options there, but also good defence. That's how the game should be. You know, everything's a contest.
Oh, there we go. Gabriel and Hugo were on at half-time with Alfred the dog, and I challenged them to ask you a question. So, Yannick, we'll go for you first. Who was the most satisfying team to beat, and who was the worst to lose to? So probably the same answer, I would imagine.
England.
England. Yeah. Have you got one of those T-shirts, Yannick? I support France, and anybody who's playing England.
I don't have it, but I should buy one.
Nick, who did you like to beat?
Well, no, to be honest, like we always thought, we obviously knew the biggest challenge was France in Europe, as I said. But when I was playing, the superpowers were still the three Southern Hemisphere teams, and when you beat New Zealand or South Africa, that was always a big statement and a big challenge, and very, very difficult because of how good they were all round. Who did I not like to lose to? That's very easy. That's the Welsh. Just because they never shut up about it, ever. Even 100 years down the line, they still talk about things. And not only that, it just so happens, more of my mates from the UK and Ireland are actually Welsh than Scottish or Irish. And again, they let you know. And you also get some dodgy, you don't so much with the Irish and the Scottish, but some people you think are English and then they claim they're Welsh and Wales win. And they've literally got a 16th of Welsh blood in them, if that is true.
What's it like being at a club when you're playing against your club mates in an international game?
It's interesting. And, when it first happens, you're sort of aware of it on the field every now and again, but not too much. But after that, you just get on with doing your job. Guys come across each other so many times now, and they know each other so many times. You've just got to make sure, it's the same thing we talk about when, it's your 50th cap. Just get on with what you do well while you're there and stick to your processes. And you can't be getting bogged down in individual battles or, personal sort of one-on-ones.
Although you probably passed comment to Tim Visser.
Oh, mate, you share a beer after, or maybe at the bottom of a ruck if you've got time. The game at the moment is so quick, they probably haven't got time. But England are playing quick now.
Oh, here's a question in from Richie. So, Yannick, I might have to explain this one. Who was the biggest loose cannon after a big win? So, which players did you worry about with their celebrations going over the top?
Oh. Oof, tough question. There are so many. The toughest players. What do you mean? What do you mean? I feel
so after
like
after a win, when you celebrate and the boys have had one or two beers to celebrate, who is it that gets themselves in trouble?
Oof, there's a lot. I'll say Christmas Oil, maybe, or Byron Keller as well.
Christmas Oil would be a big lad to control, I would imagine.
Yeah, and he's like when he drinks, he want to show who's the toughest. He love that. Even if he loves you, he want to show you that.
Get fined.
He's there.
We'll get fined there.
Yeah.
Who is yours, Nick? You must have a few names in there.
Oh, there's a few, yeah. Oh, yeah, there's a few. Players that you would know, loose cannons. Danny Kerr. Danny Kerr always used to, he's like a typical scrum half. Like, he would start something It'll cause a few problems, or a little bit of mischief. And then as soon as something kicked off, or there might be a little bit of grief or aggro, he would grab. I was one of them, but grab the nearest forward and literally just make sure that he legged it behind who the big lads were, so the big lads had to deal with it, and no one knew what had gone on beforehand. But he was up to his usual misdemeanors and mischief. Chris Ashton was loose. Lad from Wigan, you could, after you had a few in him, you didn't know what he would get up to. He liked to celebrate hard.
I've read Joe Marler's book. There's a few Harlequin stories in there.
Yeah. Look, at the end of the day, mate, you've got to celebrate the good times. You've got to be bonding as a group, and it's important you do. We're talking about the emotive part of the game, and ultimately that comes from the bond you have with the group and how much you want to put in for your teammate, as much as your own personal pride. It's a professional game, and guys have got to look after themselves, but also you've got to spend time away from the training field, away from your club environment as well.
I've just got a message from a mate of mine saying the way this game is going, Andrew Brace could be given man of the match. Are you being pleased with the referee?
At the moment, yeah, there's no.
So England looking a little bit more energised than France at the moment. France having to make a lot of tackles.
Genge seems like he's brought a lift to the team.
He's over it.
Yeah, but his hands have gone beyond. This is by far and away the best game of the Six Nations so far.
Yeah.
There's been some good games. But in terms of quality and pace of the game and attacking intent, this is head and shoulders.
The ball in playtime must be huge compared to some of the games.
Phenomenal. The guys, I tell you what, whoever's playing England and France next week will be secretly quite pleased, because they're not going to be able to do much training this week, that's for sure.
Who's been your standout back row, Yannick?
Who's been who?
Who's been your standout back row player? Who's been your standout 6, 7, or 8 in this game?
Oh, this game.
For this game, who's been the pick of your back row players?
Tom Curry. Greg Aldrit at 8, and then I'm French, so I'll go for the captain. But Mark Wilson had a good game.
Oh, we got another one. He's in. This could be it.
Championship times now.
Looks like a try, doesn't it? Only has to get a bit of the ball over.
Oui.
Captain material.
Is it a try now?
You won't have seen the Josh Adams try that was chalked off. He was over the line and didn't touch the ball down.
I tell you what, whoever that defender is that Gail Fig? Who's the other defender?
Jesus. Win it? Wow.
Yeah, it looks like a try to me. What did the referee say? Did he say, is there any reason? Or did he say, I didn't see the grounding?
Tiens, monsieur. Il s'appelle Nick. Nick.
That's enough.
What do you reckon? Is it try?
Try.
There we go. I said England by 3, didn't I?
It's a tough one to disallow. So you reckon it's all on now?
England have definitely picked it up the last 10 minutes, haven't they?
So is that the bit of 4 weeks off? Is that where that has come in?
I think no. The bench has a better impact on the game. Panels. No, I didn't expect the bench, English bench, as they are, at the moment they are outstanding our bench.
So France have got to go for the try.
Yeah.
England's discipline's been good.
Obviously, there's a British Lions and England captain for you. I don't know why they kicked it to probably the best kickoff receiver in England team. France have got to have a word with themselves about that.
Tu dis rien, Jean.
Comment?
Tu dis rien, Jean. Oui.
Hello?
Yeah.
Musique. Oui. Oh, pourquoi?
Parce que je suis remonté là.
Oh, he's reversed it. He's reversed it from the slow-mo, from the TMO. I don't understand why they don't do that for the entire 80 minutes.
Yeah.
That's not very good.
He's left himself a bit to do there.
Oh, Anthony Watson.
Well, I'll be amazed if anybody's picked
I
that
wonder
one.
if he would have got that if the score had been different. That's the thing.
That's the kind of thing that's got to wind up back row players and scrum halves and standoffs that have conducted the whole show.
Jade, qu'est-ce que tu fais avec le doudou là? Non, c'est pas un jeu.
Do France just keep playing?
They've got to. They've got to score a try.
Oh, good ball.
Oh, no. Bad luck, Yannick, mate. I thought you guys played a cracking game there, in all fairness.
That's pretty impressive predictions, Minty. Other than the man of the match, I don't think anybody saw coming. We might have to have a rock and roll over the bottle of whiskey because I'm not convinced anybody's picked Anthony Watson. Does that justify everything that's happened in the previous games, Nick?
Well, what do you mean justify?
Well, sticking with those players and sticking with how they're playing.
I'm not so sure, to be honest, because again, look, international rugby is about winning. It's about the here and now. But you've got to have an eye on the World Cup, and I think France would have learned more from that game and this period off in terms of how they prepare and how they play than England would have learned. But in terms of the short term, England needed that win, and they got it. And those players needed that win for justification of selection, I suppose, is what you're saying. But I still think you could have gone with the youngsters, and who knows what happened. But I think you would have learned a lot more. This group have beaten France plenty of times in the past, but as an Englishman, I'm happy. They've been written off. Bulldog spirits come to the fore, and most importantly, actually, I think we've shown a lot more intent. Ball in hand, and got people on the edge of their seat, and we more than stood up and matched France in the sort of all court ball ball in play game.
And you've bloody handed it to the Welsh now, haven't you?
Oh. I forgot about that, mate. Yeah.
Yannick, what is this? Is this just a bump in the road?
Yeah, I think it's I definitely think it's a bump in the road. I think what happened to the French team for the last 3 or 4 weeks wasn't easy to deal with, but you didn't see that everything's happened on this game. They had a cracking game. Don't forget that they are a young team. I think they went in the game for the 65 first minute, and the English bench made a difference. What I felt that would be a good addition to France was on the English side.
And that's a decision that you can only know now because it's been done. You couldn't predict that before the game. It was obviously done with the best intention, and it doesn't quite come off. So what do you think moving forward then, Nick? 1 game to go. What does this do for England's wrap up to the tournament?
Yeah, well, I think, look, if England can beat Ireland in Ireland, which they're more than capable of, I don't think Ireland won't provide that many threats ball in hand. I think they've been pretty lacklustre as far as that's concerned, and I think they'll struggle to contain England, with their new, mindset and image to attack. And they're sort of finished satisfactory. Still, questions will be asked, about what happened against Wales and Scotland and why there is that inconsistency if things don't go well or lack of leadership. But I think beating France at home and France are the favoured side, although I think that's, it was a bit probably presumptuous to make them favoured given they haven't played for 4 weeks, but they still were, and they've got high quality there. And then, to beat Ireland away, if we do, I think it's not what they wanted. It's not what Eddie Jones or the RFU would have wanted or any of the players, but, you've recovered and you've shown plenty of resilience, and you've probably discovered more about yourself than if you had carried on winning, playing the sort of rugby we were playing in the autumn.
Yannick, for France, still on it?
Yeah, I'm still on it. They are learning, and I think I can see a bright future to this team. A player like Bernard Leroux and the intensity he can put on was missing today. When you see the game Mauro Itoje had today, I think it would have been a huge opposition with Bernardo. And that's we lost this game with details, and the main thing is to learn from this loss.
This must be the real difficult bit to deal with at this level. For want of a tiny margin, we've got two squads who now feel completely different from how they did this time last week. Is that just how it goes and you roll with the punches?
That's rugby. That's high level. It's details, Details, small details make everything. The difference between losing and winning is in details, and there is a very, very small difference between putting 40 points and taking 30 points, and it's the addition of all these details that make a great team.
Yeah. Gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure. I've absolutely loved it. I've really, really enjoyed your company. But a couple of prizes to give away, and I think they'll all be pleased to hear Yannick Nyanga and Nick Easter give them the congratulations. So well done to the man of the match winner, Sean McKennie from Sunderland Rugby Club up there, Nick.
Sunderland, mate. That's you don't want to mention that place up in Newcastle.
Rugby, surely. Football, maybe, but rugby, surely you're all friends.
Well done, mate. Well done.
Well done, Sean. How you picked Anthony Watson, I do not know, but maybe you know somebody on the inside. Yeah. Who do you know, Sean? That's what we want to know. So well done, Sean. You've got yourself a bottle of Glen Turret, and the winner. Look at this, Terry from the Stoop. Nick, I don't know if you know Terry, but Terry's got his back brace on. He's enjoyed his afternoon with us, so he wins the entry for next week. So he'll be back with us next week. Terry, please look after yourself.
Well done, Tel.
Well done, Tel. Nick's pleased with that. A man from the Stoop. Good on you, Terry. Gentlemen, thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure. I could get quite comfortable here, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Nick, I hope that's maybe taking your mind off a little bit of what happened earlier.
What happened earlier? I've completely forgotten.
Who knows? Wales beat Italy. Wales, that's what happened earlier.
Yeah, that's what's happened.
Nick Easter, Yannick Nyanga, thank you very much. It's been an absolute joy.
Cheers, mate. Thanks, Yannick. Thanks, mate.
Thanks, Nick. Thanks,
Bye.
Bye.
Brilliant. You got to love it. Folks, I hope you've had a great afternoon. I certainly have. I don't know if the result was for you. I'm not sure. We had too many French clubs on, so most of you are probably celebrating. Donate a pint to your club to celebrate. Send them some pennies for a round of drinks, and I'm sure your club will be absolutely delighted. Thank you to Snackfully for sending a few snacks out and supporting the Rugby Bash legends in your living room. Thank you to Glen Turret Whiskey, sponsoring the Man of the Match Award. Thank you as well to the Rugby Tour Specialists. Thank you very much for everything you're doing, putting these on and keeping people connected during the Six Nations. Huge thank you to Sean Phelan, who's backstage pushing the buttons and pulling the strings to make sure things go smoothly. The website had a little bit of a hiccup, but Sean, cape on, underpants over his trousers, to the rescue and saved the day. So thank you to Sean for quite literally making this happen. It's been an absolute joy. Thank you to you for sending in your pictures and your questions. It's great to have that interaction and feel like it's not just me in a room on my own with two absolute legends. I'm sure you'll agree. Yannick and Nick Easter, top drawer. Join us next week when we've got Toby Flood and Ian Madigan. So we're going from the back rows to the number 10s. It'll give us a different insight, but I'm sure it'll be magic. I hope you've enjoyed yourself in Clubland. Keep it going. We're on our road back, so behave yourself, get your jab, and we'll see you back on a touchline somewhere. My name is Bruce Aitchison from Happiness is Egg-Shaped, and I have absolutely loved being your host. Keep going on Twitter at Rugby Bash for more details and to send in your pictures and comments. We're always looking to make things better. I've had a great day. Scotland tomorrow, it could ruin my weekend, but hey, Saturday's been an absolute joy. All the best, and I'll see you again for Rugby Bash Legends in your living room.